5. And my name is Yuzhen Ivy. This is my team member Yu Bei and Xinyu. Today our topic is attending a trade show. And this is our content. First, I'm going to talk about the vocabulary, and then Xinyu and I will have a short conversation. And after that, I will test you some preposition. And then Yu Bei will tell you about vocabulary of listening practice. And then Xinyu will play a listening practice. And then Yu Bei will focus on activity 2. And finally, Xinyu will talk about high and low context culture. And then Xinyu will show you our references, inside story, and work assignment. After that, we will have a short break time. And then it's your time to give us some comments. And after that, we will share our feedback to you. And finally, we will choose today's best commentators. And let's get started with today's vocabulary. The first one, trade show. It's a noun. It means exhibition that features different products. And let's read the sentence together. International Trade Show Exhibition Center. This is Amy speaking. Next one, booth. It's a noun. It means a public closed area or small tent at a fair. And let's read the sentence together. I'd like to book a booth for the upcoming International Green Vehicle Trade Show at the center. And next one, address. It's a verb. It means the manner of speaking to another individual. And let's read the sentence together. May I ask how I should address you? And next, linear booth is a noun. It means have one side exposed to an aisle and are generally arranged in a series along a straight line. And let's read the sentence. There are 4 types of booths available at our show. Linear booths, corner booths, peninsula booths, and island booths. Next one, corner booth. It's a noun. It's a stand on the end of a road and has 2 open sides. And let's read the sentence again. There are 4 types of booths available at our show. Linear booths, corner booths, peninsula booths, and island booths. And next one, peninsula booths is a noun. It means it's exposed to aisles on 3 sides and composed of minimum of 4 booths. And composed means to be the parts that something is made of. And let's read the sentence together. There are 4 types of booths available at our show. Linear booths, corner booths, peninsula booths, and island booths. And the next one is island booths. It's a noun. It means any booth exposed to aisles on all 4 sides. And let's read the sentence again. There are 4 types of booths at our show. Linear booths, corner booths, peninsula booths, and island booths. Next one, in terms of, it's a phrase. It means used to describe which particular area of the subject you are discussing. And let's read the sentence. Basically, they are all different in terms of size, dimensions, and price. And next one, dimension. It's a noun. It's a measurement of something in a particular direction. And let's read the sentence. Basically, they are all different in terms of size, dimensions, and price. And next one, instance. It's a verb or a noun. It means to give something as an example. And let's read the sentence. For instance, linear booths are 3 meters wide and 3 meters deep. Next one, exposed. It's an adjective. It means without covering or protection. And let's read the sentence together. We'll arrange linear booths in a straight line, which means they have one side only exposed for attendees. And next one, surround. It's a verb. It means to be everywhere around something. And let's read the sentence. So linear booths are surrounded by other exhibitors' booths on the left and right of them. And next one, exhibitor. It's a noun. It means someone who has made or owns something. And let's read the sentence again. So is a noun. It means without any facilities. It only provides the space. And let's read the sentence together. We provide room, rental, and a shell scheme package. Next one. Shell scheme package is a noun. It means beside the space, it also includes lighting, carpet, and chairs. And let's read the sentence again. We provide real space rental and a shell scheme package. And next one, VAT, is value-added tax. It's a noun. It's a type of tax that is assessed incrementally. And incrementally means in a way that involves something being done in a series of amounts. And let's read the sentence together. These are the price with VAT. And next one is comprise. It's a verb. It means to have as parts or members, or to be those parts or members. And let's read the sentence together. The package comprises lighting, a signboard with your coverage name on it, carpet, partition walls, 4 folding chairs, 1 glass round table, and 1 waste paper bin. And next one. Partition wall is a noun. It's the walls which divide the floor area of the building into a number of rooms. And let's read the sentence again. The package comprises lighting, a signboard with your coverage name on it, carpet, partition walls, 4 folding chairs, 1 round table, and 1 waste paper bin. Next one, folded is an adjective. It means can be folded into a smaller size to make it easier to store. And let's read the sentence again. The package comprises lighting, a signboard with your coverage name on it, carpet, partition walls, 4 folding chairs, 1 glass round table, and 1 waste paper bin. And next one is fit. It's a container for waste. And let's read the sentence again. The package comprises lighting, a signboard with your coverage name on it, carpet, partition walls, 4 folding chairs, 1 glass round table, and 1 waste paper bin. And next one, come in handy is a phrase. It means to be useful for a particular purpose. And let's read the sentence. The package may come in handy. The last one is kit. It's a noun. It means a case of containing a set of articles. And let's read the sentence together. We provide an e-application kit for our applicants to download. And this is the end of our vocabulary part. Next, Xinyu and I will have a short conversation about booking a booth at the trade show.
International Trade Show Exhibition Center. This is Amy speaking. How may I help you?
Hello there, I'm the assistant manager of Green Action Incorporation. I'd like to book a booth for the upcoming International Green Vehicle Trade Show at your center.
May I ask how I should address you?
My name is Ivy Zhou.
Ms. Zhou, shall I give you a brief introduction of the kind of booths we're offering?
That would be great.
There are 4 types of booths available at our show: dinner booths, corner booths, peninsula booths, and island booths.
What is the difference among them?
Basically, they're all different in terms of size, dimensions, and price.
You mean
For instance, dinner booths are 3 meters wide and 3 meters deep, and the back wall height is around 2.5 meters. We'll arrange dinner booths in a straight line, which means they have one side only exposed for attendees.
so linear booths are surrounded by other exhibitors booths on the left and right of them?
Yes, and on the back as well.
How much does a linear booth cost?
We provide row space rental and a shell scheme package. The rent for row space is $65,000 NT. With a shell scheme package, the rent is $73,000 NT. These are the prices with VAT.
What does the shell scheme package include?
The package comprises lightning, a sidewall with the corporation's name on it, carpet, partition walls, 4 folding chairs, 1 glass round table, and 1 glass paper bin.
I see. That package may come in handy.
Definitely, we provide an e-application kit for our applicants to download. Would you like me to email the link to you?
That would be great.
And this is the end of our conversation. Now I'm going to test you some preposition. The first question is, I'd like to book a booth at the upcoming International Green Vehicle Trade Show at your center. And who knows the answer? Jia Tian. A. Yes, the answer is A4. And let's read the sentence together. I'd like to book a booth for the upcoming International Green Vehicle Trade Show at your center. And second, what is the difference of them? 1, 2, 3. Lloyd. Yes, the answer is A. Let's read the sentence together. What is the difference among them? And the third question, will arrange linear books in a straight line, which means they have one side only exposed what attendees. And who knows the answer? Shall we? Yes, the answer is 4. And let's read the sentence together. Will arrange linear books in a straight line, which means they have one side only exposed for attendees. And last question. So linear books are surrounded by other exhibitors, but what's the left and right of them? Yo-yo. Yes, the answer is on. And let's read the sentence together. So linear books are surrounded by other exhibitors, but on the left or right of them. And this is the end of preposition practice. Now I'm going to give the floor to Yubei.
Hi everyone, my name is Yu Bei. I'm going to talk about the vocabulary of the listening practice. Let's open your book to, page 91. Yes. Okay, so the first one is over here. The definition of over here is you hear something without intending to. So let's read the example together. I overhear you and Ye in the hallway discussing which trade show we should participate in early next year. And next one is definite. The definition of definite is something is certain. Let's read the example together. An indefinite decision made. And next one is tough code. The definition of tough code is a decision that is particularly difficult to judge. Let's read the example together. It's always a tough call for us to choose a trade show that is suited for our business. And next one is bolster. The definition of bolster is to support or improve something to make it stronger. Let's read the example together. Attending trade show is one of the key ways to promote our business to our target customer and to further bolster our company reputation. And next one is reputation. The definition of reputation is how much respect or admiration someone or something receives, based on past behavior or character. Let's read the example together. Attending trade show is one of the key ways to promote our business to our target customer and to further bolster our company reputation. And next one is visibility. The definition of visibility is how far you can see or how clear the object you can watch. So let's read the example together. For a small company like ours, exhibiting a trade show can help us gain visibility. And next one is raise our profile. The definition of it is gets more attention from the public. Let's read the example together. I agree about the idea of using exhibitions to raise our profile. The next one is hassle. The definition of hassle is a situation causing difficulty or trouble. Let's read the example together. I agree about the idea of using exhibitions to raise our profile, but I'm not sure I agree it's worth all the hassles of planning and implementation, not to mention the money we invest in exhibiting at the trade show. And next one is implementation. The definition of it is the act of starting to use a plan or system. Let's read the example again. I agree about the idea of using exhibitions to raise our profile, but I'm not sure I agree it's worth it all the hassles of planning and implementation, not to mention the money we invest in exhibiting at the trade show. And next one is publicity-wise. The definition of it is that aware of the need for publicity, of the most effective meaning of gaining publicity. So let's read the example together. I see your point, but you know what? We actually get much more in return, not only publicity-wise and money-wise. And next one is money-wise. The definition of it is in terms of money. It is the financially speaking. Let's read the example together. I see your point, but you know what? We actually get much more in return, not only publicity-wise and money-wise. And next one is end user. The definition of end user is the person or organization that using something, rather than an organization that trades in it. Let's read the example together. Trade shows are not just about getting your message across to the end user of your products. And next one is crux. The definition of crux is the most important or serious part of a matter, problem, or argument. Let's read the example together. Competition is the crux of the matter. And next one is adequate. The definition of adequate is enough or satisfactory for a particular purpose. Let's read the example together. Right, I suppose you will provide adequate reasons to justify the hassles and the expected cost. And next one is notch. The definition of notch is a V-shaped cut in a hard surface, and the other in the other word that is called up another level. Let's read the example together. I now understand why a good expression can take a business up a notch. This is the end of the vocabulary part. Let's welcome Sincere.
Hi, my name is Sincere. My name is Xiyu, and next we're going to have the listening practice. So please everyone please turn to page 91 and listen to the dialogue.
Listening practice.
Please listen to the following dialogue and answer the questions.
Reasons for attending trade shows.
Hi, I overheard you and Ian in the hallway discussing which trade show we should participate in early next year. Any definite decisions made?
I wish, but far from it.
It's always a tough call for us to choose a trade show that is suited for our business.
It certainly is.
Sometimes I wonder why we bother attending trade shows at all.
Well, attending trade shows is one of the key ways to promote our business to our target customer and to further bolster our company reputation. For a small company like ours, exhibiting at trade shows can help us gain visibility.
I agree about the idea of using exhibitions to raise our profile, but I'm not sure I agree it's worth all the hassles of planning and implementation, not to mention the money we invest in exhibiting at the trade show.
I see your point, but you know what? we actually gain much more in return, not only publicity-wise, but money-wise.
How so?
You see, most of the trade shows offer free marketing services for exhibitors at the event. For instance, free press releases or the complimentary advertisement on their website. So, basically, whenever we make an appearance at the show, we get a free advertising opportunity for our business.
You're right. Why have I never thought of that?
Trade shows are not just about getting the message across to the end users of your products. They're also an effective way to connect with business professionals as well as check out the competition. Competition is the crux of the matter. It can make or break a business.
Right. I suppose you provided adequate reasons to justify the hassles and the exhibit costs. I now understand why a good exhibition can take a business up a notch. 1. What questions do...
So after listening to the dialogue, next I'm going to ask you the questions in your textbook. The first question is, what questions did Luke ask Alan during the dialogue? Does anyone know the answer? Yes, the answer is C. Why do people attend trade shows? And the second question is, what did Alan say about trade shows? Does anyone know the answer? Once again. 1, 2, 3. 0. Yes, the answer is A. Trade show provide an opportunity to gain visibility of their business. And the last question is, was Luke convinced by Alan about the benefit of attending the trade show in the end? Does anyone know the answer? Zoe?
A.
Yes, the answer is A. Yes, he is convinced by Alan. So this is the end of the listening practice. Next, I'm going to give the floor to Yubei to let her introduce you the activity 2.
Hi everyone, let's open your book to page 93. In this activity, they require you to discuss the problem or limitation of the exhibition booth, and you need to come up with the solution and for the overcoming the problems or limitation. So this is what we found out. The first one, linear booth. It's a general arranged in a straight line and has neighboring exhibitor on the right and left. Leave one side of the booth exposed to the aisle for attendees. So the problems are small space and only one size. We come up with the solution are hanging up the booth sign up high, and the clerk or the staff must to attract the customers. And next one is peninsula booth. A peninsula booth is exposed to an aisle on three sides. And there are two types of peninsula booth. It can back up to linear booth, or the other type is can back up to another peninsula, also referred to as a split island booth. So we come out the problem is not allowed to hang things up high, and so our solution is you should utilizing the space as much as possible. And next one is corner booth. A corner booth is a linear booth at the end of the series of inline booths with exposure to intersections in aisles on two sides. So the problem is the wall is less than other booths. We come out the solutions are organizing your space as much as possible, and the staff need to stand out of the booth. And the next one is island booth. An island booth is any size booth exposed to aisles on all four sides of the booth with no adjacent neighbors. So the problems are four sides open, so the customer count four sides around. You need to trace them all around the exhibition. So the solutions are organize the flow line for your customer and assign your staff to attract customer by flow size. And this is the end of the activity 2. Let's welcome Cecilia to introduce the high and low context culture.
So after Yvette talked about activity 2, next I want to talk about the high-low context culture. Before I introduce the differences between these two different cultures, let's see the video first.
于是，身体健康的部门，
找不到，
咳嗽的地方有没有口罩？
真的没有。是超过方面也没有。其实口罩应该在这里找得到，但是都没有。反正。Maybe they do it by the front. Maybe it's something that they're selling more of.
Oh, I see. 好像在美国的情况，现在就是电池和糖果比口罩还重要。
整个都是糖果。Hey, Adam, there's hand sanitizer. That's pretty.
Productive.
Yeah. So there's candy, batteries, chips.
我们先把它们那个套。
都是垃圾食物。
找不到。
口罩在哪？
We need to ask. We're not gonna find it.
Okay, let's find someone else.
It's a nationwide shortage on it right now because people are just hoarding them and trying to get them.
Wow.
So when you had them, you sell it quickly?
Yeah, and we only let people buy one per person. There's not really any telling what's gonna happen, but
Do you feel like face masks are a good method?
we have no idea. I mean, we've sold out of them so fast.
It's been 3 weeks. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. 3个星期都没有，完全卖光了，好夸张哎！我真的没想到，在我们城市路上没有人在戴口罩。我问他这是不是好的防疫措施，他说我不知道。我们在美国从小被教导说，你感冒的时候要用肥皂洗手。
而且只要是你患了非常严重的病，才要戴口罩。在美国戴口罩不是一种防护措施，这是你病了之后才要戴。
可能你在自己的国家看到一些外国人没有在戴口罩，会觉得啊很不礼貌、很自私什么的。但是希望可以了解到这个文化区别，因为我们从小没有这个戴口罩的习惯，我们都会比较是注意自己的个人卫生，洗手，感冒要留在家里，不要出去。对，但是我也觉得目前亚洲在戴口罩这方面做得很好。
So this is the end of the video, and next I'm going to talk about the differences between these two cultures. As the video shows you, also this is the maybe the healthy concept differences between American and Asian countries, but it also contains some high and low context culture inside it. For example, the high context culture people, they are more collectivism, and when they are making the decision, they were easily affected by the society. It means that when they are going to make the decision, they will not only to consider themselves, they also will consider how other people think. Will my action, will I take this action will affect other people or not? They will really care about this. It is all because the high context culture people is collectivism. And in contrast, the low context culture people, they are individualism. And when they are making the decision, they are seldom affected by the society. For example, as the video mentioned, the American people, they're only to wear the mask. They think they will only to wear masks when they are really sick, and they don't think I didn't wear a mask will affect others because they trust that I only need to protect myself and I won't bother others, so I won't affect the other people. They will, when they're making decision, they won't affect it by others. They will do the decision they want to do what they want to do. So this is the, I think is the differences between these two different cultures during these times, coronavirus. And also now it's really a tough time, but hope everyone could ride out of this one and hope everyone could keep healthy until we fight the coronavirus. So this is the end of our presentation. Next, I'm going to talk about our references. We basically use the Google to search the pictures, and we also use some keyword. For example, use the keyword healthy, and use the keyword healthy to search a picture that I just used in the high and low context culture. And we use this exhibition booth stands to search the information about the activity 2, the introduction of that booth. And next, we'll also use the Google and the keyword wearing masks to show you the people that is wearing masks in the high and low context culture. And use the keyword listening to search the people who is listen to the music in our listening practice. And the video of high-low context culture is from a YouTube this address, and we use the Cambridge dictionary to check out the vocabularies. So this is the end of the references. Next, I'm going to talk about our inside story. In the 2020 May 13th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., we first discussed in the corner in the 3501, and we discussed all the content of our textbook, and on that day we also assigned our work. And next, in the May 20th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in the 3502, on that day we first rehearsed, and we also revised. We find out some mistake of our presentation and revised our PowerPoint. And next is the May 27th. It's also from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in 3514 in this classroom. We rehearsed again and revised our PowerPoint again to check everything is all right. So this is the end of our inside story. Next, I'm going to talk about our work assignment. Yushan is in charge of her part, including vocabulary, scenario, and preposition practice, and she also integrated the PowerPoint and made this beautiful PowerPoint for us, and I really appreciate her because every time she prepared this beautiful PowerPoint for us. And Yubei is in charge of the vocabulary of listening practice, activity 2, and the PowerPoint for her own part, and she also used her cell phone to record a video for us today. And thanks Yujin, now is still recording the video for us. And last, I'm in charge of the scenario 2 and listening practice, and also find the high-low context culture and do the PowerPoint of my own part, and we check out the contents every time we rehearse. So this is the end of our inside story. Now is the break time. We're going to have a short break, and after break time, it's time for you to give us the comment. Thank you.
It's time to give us our comments, and let's welcome group 1.
We are group 1, and Yo-Yo she's my team member, Peijun and Tsailing, and I'm going to talk about, Peijun and I, I'm going to talk about stage performance, and Tsailing going to talk about PowerPoint. And the first person I want to talk about is Yubei. And I think when she speaks, I think when she speaks, we can very tackle we can take patient on her because she's really like a real teacher, and she speaks in a very organized way, and
she introduced the activity part is very good, and I can feel that she tried her best to introduce she want to talk about and can make us easily to understand the contents. And the second person is Yushan. I think she's very patient because in the vocabulary part, there are lots of vocabulary she need to talk us, but she didn't feel rushed or make us feel her impatient. So I think it's very professional. And the last person is Xinyu. Sorry. The last person is Xinyu. I think her performance is as good as usual. She didn't read the PowerPoint, but she can smoothly to introduce she want to talk about. And in high and low context culture, she choose the current event to be the topic to introduce us. I think it's very great, and she didn't read the PowerPoint, and she can use her own word to introduce, also complement some content didn't in the PowerPoint. So I think the performance of the group is very great. So this is my comments and give the floor to Paige.
Hello everyone, my name is Paige. Now I'm going to talk about the stage performance. Before the presentation, we changed the classroom. So we have the equipment problem, but we have the teamwork to deal with anything. So let's give them a big hand. Then I'm going to talk about the Ivy and Liang. She looks like very professional teachers because when they teach us the vocabularies, they have a good strong eye contact and they have a confidence and they stable on the stage. So I enjoy their presentation. And next I want to talk about the Xinyu. I think she looks like very professional speaker because they are go smoothly to finish his presentation and choose the good topics to talk about high and low context culture. So I learned to know the different cultural topics. So this is my comments. I will give the floor to Xiaoling.
Hello everyone, I'm Tsailing. I'll talk about their PowerPoint. First, I think their PowerPoint design is very cute, which is like a notebook. And I noticed that the vocabularies in this chapter are half of this. They are half of their report, and the vocabularies are almost in the same sentence. So I would like to say maybe I could memorize the sentence we repeat again and again. And next, I'll talk about the part Ivy did. I think she is very thoughtful. She highlights the main meaning in the definition, and also when she introduced the vocabulary, if there are some hard words to understand in the definition, like compose and incrementally, she will introduce them separately. I think it's good. And next I'll talk about the part Liang did. I think she will spend a lot of time to search this information. Even in Chinese, this information are difficult to understand, not to mention in English. So I think she really did a great job. And I also noticed that when she introduced the word bolster, she add its preposition in the last. So I think she is very careful and thoughtful in this part. So all in all, they did a really great job in this presentation. Now I'll give the floor to group 2.
Hello everyone, we are group 2. My name is Dong Zhu, and she is my team member, Wan Rong. We divide our comment into two parts. I will talk about their stage performance, and Wan Rong will talk about their content. First, now let's get started with their stage performance. I think all of them have strong eye contact with all the audience. Also, I think their pronunciations are very well. When Ivy and Sincere are having a conversation, their voice are loud enough to be heard. Also, they have strong eye contact with each other. I think this is very good. Also, I think three of them are really like the real speaker to teaching us because they look so confident standing on the stage. And all in all, I think the topic of the high and low context culture is very interesting, and this is my comment. I will give the floor to Wan Rong.
Hi, my name is Wan Rong. First, their PowerPoint style is very cute. And in the vocabulary part, Yu Shen, she teach us many words about exhibition, and she is not only read the vocabulary's definition, and she also explain additionally vocabulary like commentally and compass. And I also learned some phrases from their vocabulary parts, like come in handy and raise our profile. And I think these are all very useful vocabulary for us. And in the activity part, when Yu Bei stayed on the stage and started to speaking, she just like a teacher, she full of energy and confidence. And she also have a strong eye contact with audience. And in the high no contact cultures part, Xingyu chose a hard topic, coronavirus, to introduce this part. And she always like a professional speak when she on the stage. And her pronunciation is also well. All in all, they did a perfect presentation. And this is our comment. Let me give the floor to group 3.
Hello everyone, we are group 3 and I'm Yingzhen. They are my team members, Chu Han and Ping Rong. And first I will talk about Yu Bei and Xingyu's stage performance. And next, Chu Han will talk about Yu Xuan's stage performance and PowerPoint. And in the end, Ping Rong will make a short conclusion. And first I want to talk about Yu Bei. And I think she talks smoothly and her speak is very professional. And when she in vocabulary part, she use simple words to explain and let audience can understand. And in activity part, and she introduced a lot of booth type and also use simple words to explain, let audience can understand. And next I want to talk about Xingyu. And in high and low context culture part, she choose the present situation. And she use simple words to explain and the audience can understand. And so I think they did a good job. And this is the end of my comment. Now I will give the floor to Chu Han.
Hi, I'm Chu Han, and I'm going to talk about Ivy's Yu Xuan's performance and their PowerPoint. And first I'm going to talk about Yu Xuan. I think she improves a lot in her presentation. She goes very smoothly on the vocabulary part, and she used her own words to explain the vocabulary. And because the sentence in the vocabulary there are 3 sentences are the same, and so so the vocabulary booth are the most memorable vocabulary. And I think this group makes a good example for us, because they did a very good presentation, and it's almost like professional presentation for I think and and next I'm going to talk about the PowerPoint. I think their PowerPoints, their layout are very tidy up, and the color and the design are very cute, and I really like the high and low context cultures pictures. And there are 2 pictures on the PowerPoint, on the high and low context cultures PowerPoint, and the 2 pictures are very clear enough to let us know what they are going to talk about. And this is the end of my comment. I'll give the floor to Piro.
Hi, I'm Piro and Rin. And in conclusion, first I think they choose a good topic about high and low context culture because it's close the situation. And second is, I think it is interesting to repeat again and again about the example. It can let us speak more smoothly. And finally is, I think their PowerPoint is cleaner, and their pronunciation are all professional. That's the end of my comment. I will give the floor to Gufo.
Hello, we are Group 4 and I'm Jin Ethan. Here is my group member, Teresa Rishan and Colin Yushin. We will divide our comments into 3 parts, and I'm in charge of their stage performance. Rishan is in charge of their delivery, and Yongshan is in charge of their contents. I think 3 of them, like a teacher, they introduce their parts very patiently and professionally, and especially when Yushen and Yubei introduce the vocabulary. And even though we repeat the same sentence many times, but I think they can make us more remember the vocabulary and sentence. And also, Yubei introduced the different types of booths and showing their advantage and disadvantage very clearly. I think this is considerate. And finally, Xinyu chose a very important topic of high and low context culture, because the coronavirus is very serious recently, and I think this is really important topic. And also I appreciate that I'm born in Taiwan, and the country is very cautious of this virus, and they can prevent us to killing by the virus. And now I'm going to give the floor to Lucian.
Hello everyone, I'm Teresa Yushen. First, I would like to talk about Yushen. I think her presentation was very but no exaggerated expression. I think she did a great job. And next, I would like to talk about Yu Bei. Her presentation full of confidence and she always has strong eye contact with us. It's excellent. And then I would like to talk about Xinyu. She can always explain, use her own words to explain all the detail, and we can grasp the emphasis easily. This is the end of my comments. I will give the floor to Colin Yongxuan.
Hello everyone, I'm Yongxuan, and first of all, I want to talk about Yu Bei and Yu Xuan. They introduce vocabulary very detailed, and they are very considerable because they add extra explanation of other vocabularies, and also translate the example sentence into Chinese. And Yu Bei voice was loud enough and very powerful, and she used her own words to explain. She used her own words to explain it in activity 2. And Xinyu was very confident on the stage, and she introduced high-low context culture very specifically and between US and Asian countries. And they all did a very great job in this presentation. So this is the end of our comments. I'll give the floor to group 6.
Group 6. And now we are going to give them some comments. And I'm Enning, and they are my team members, Yiling and Xizhi. And today we will divide our parts into 3 parts. I will talk about their stage performance, and Yiling will talk about their PowerPoint, and Xizhi will give them some conclusion. And now I go first. First of all, I think they all have a strong eye contact with the audience, and it makes their performance more professional. And second, they speak very fluently, and their voice is also loud enough. And third, I think their pronunciation is almost accurate. I can feel that they have well prepared. And fourth, when they are speaking, they don't shake their body, they just stand directly. And I think this is a good stage manner. And the last one, I think they are just like a professional speaker, because when we change classroom, they could quickly solve their problems, and such as the problems of microphone and computer, and they just quickly make everything go well. And so in conclusion, I think they really did a good job in their stage performance. And now I will give the floor to Yiling.
Okay, I'm Yiling. Now I'm going to talk about their PowerPoint. And first, I think they in the vocabulary part, they high-level vocabulary in the sentence, and I also put some cute icons in their PowerPoint that can make their PowerPoint look more colorful. And in the high and low context culture, I really agree with that, because when I traveled in Europe in February this year, when I wear a mask and walking on the street, I can feel a strong this ，disunderstand。启示就是很强烈的启示这样。Wear mask and walking on the street. So, but I think this issue in our culture is better than our country's culture. And this is the end of my comment. Now I give the floor to 启智。
I'm Peter Shizi. I would like to make a short conclusion. In the presentation, I can feel they very attach great importance to this presentation because the PPT's pages are very amazing, and I can understand their content in the PPT because because it was very clear and specifically. I can listen to them and watch the PPT. I think all of them did a great job and made a good example for us. This is the end of our comment. I will give the floor to Hussein.
Hello everyone, welcome to 7. I'm Xinmei and this is Liang and this is Yujun. And today we are divide our comments into 3 parts. First, I'm going to talk about stage performance, and Liang will talk about PowerPoint, and Yujun will talk about delivery and show conclusion. And let's get started with stage performance. And first, I want to talk about Yuxuan, and I think when she teach us the vocabulary, she lose confidence on the stage like a real teacher. And when she talk about vocabulary, she seldom look at the PowerPoint and make strong eye contact. So I think she is well prepared on this part. Also, she lead us to read the same sentence again and again. So I think she really did a great job. And then I want to talk about Yubei. And when she talk about vocabulary in the same practice and activity, I think she is really energetic speaker on stage because she use some gesture and her voice loud enough. And in her activity part, she introduced some very different types of books. Made me learn a lot from the activity part. And then I want to talk about sincere, Xinyu. In the high-low content culture part, she chose very interesting topic, and it happened recently. So I think it's really creative, and she explained the content very detailed, and also I really like her pronunciation and the whole time without rushing. And this is the end of my comment. I'll give the floor to Jackie.
My name is Jackie. I will talk about their PowerPoint. I think their PowerPoint template look like very graceful, and each icons are very cute, and every words are big enough to see. And they design their PowerPoint in order so we can clearly the content and list. And in the scenario part, they highlight the vocabulary they teach. We can make more focus on these vocabularies. And in the high-low context culture, they choose the current event to their topic and make a list to show us of difference between high and low context culture. I think it's very formal and easy to understand, and let me learn a lot from them. And this is the end of my comment. I will give the floor to Rachel.
Hello, I'm Rachel Chen Yujun, and now I would like to talk about their delivery and also make a short conclusion. The first speaker, Ivy, she starts in a really comfortable and stable way. Like just before they start their presentation, they're still testing their equipment. And as the presentation starts, she could still start the presentation. that fluently. I think it's really professional. And it's also really interesting that she introduced the same, she repeated the same example sentence again and again. That's really remarkable. And the second speaker, Liang, as she stand on the stage, I can feel that she's full of confidence, and her voice and her pronunciation are also really great. And I can feel that she always try to do her best to use her own word to introduce her parts. And the last speaker, Sincere, she really has a perfect presentation skill, and she really introduced the topic clearly. And the video just well explained the situation in the US now. And she also told us the keyword they use to find the pictures. And in conclusion, I think all of them are well prepared, and all of them just show the grade of general, and nothing would stop them to have a good presentation. And this will be our comments. I'll give the floor back to group 6.
Five, sorry. And thanks for your comments. Now it's time for us to give you our feedback. And I'm go first. First of all, I'm very appreciative that teacher gave us this opportunity to stand on the stage. That I learned how to prepare a presentation and how to collaborate with the team members. And then I'm very glad that I can work with Yu Bei and Xinyu. And I want to also thank Xinyu always check my pronunciation in the vocabulary part. And also Yu Bei always turn his report quickly to me that I can finish it earlier. And this is my feedback. I'm going to give the floor to Yu Bei.
Hi, my name is Yu Bei. I'm going to thanks for everyone that focus on our presentation. And I really appreciate my team members. They are all great. They treat me kindly because because when I rehearse on my part, they Sincere. She will check my pronunciation and help me to translate the sentence, and also she helped me search the activity to that about the booth type. And Yushen, she helped me to integrate my PowerPoint and find out the wrong sentence or the wrong translation in my PowerPoint. I really appreciate that. This is my feedback. Let's give the floor to Sincere.
Hi, my name is Xi. First, I want to thanks to my team members, because I think they really helped me a lot, and I also learned a lot from them. Thanks Yuzhen for giving us this beautiful PowerPoint every time, and I think every time she need to integrate the PowerPoint for us is really, I think this work is really hard and need to do a lot of effort. She didn't hesitate to do this kind of work. I really feel grateful. And thanks Yu Bei for every time I feel upset or we are start to feel a little bit tired. She always energetic and tell us we can do a better job, we can do a good job, we can do it, and always encourage me. And next, I also need to especially thanks to Rachel Yujun again. She still record the video for us. And finally, I also need to thank teacher for giving us this precious opportunity to could cooperate with different classmates and learn a lot from them. And I also learned a lot from this class during this semester, and hope everyone could also learn a lot from this class too. So this is the end of our feedback. And next, please give some time to choose who is the best commentator.
So now we choose today's three best commentators. The first one is Liang. Because she because she mentioned that we all have strong eye contact and also friendly. And even we change the classroom, we can quickly to solve the problems. And also we didn't shake our body. It's a good manner. And next I'll give the floor to Xinyu.
And the second commentator we choose is Yizhen. We choose her is because at first she talked about IBM 日升 and Yubei's performance. She said they are really professional like a teacher, and talk the detail about the vocabularies. And besides, she also tell us that in the activity 2, we may talk about the advantage and disadvantage in our activity 2 of each booth. And besides, she also, when she talk about high-low context culture, she also shared about her thinking. She is lucky to be born in Taiwan, and this topic is really important. We need to more careful about this issue. So this is the reason why we choose her as the second best commentator. And next, I'm going to give the floor to Yubei.
And the last best commentator is Liang. Because she said that I stand on the stage, I speak like a teacher and give them the strong eye contact. And in my activity part, she know I'm organizing my the 4 booth type, but in different ways. And she also said my PowerPoint is very easy to understand. So let's welcome these best commentators. The first one is Zhang Enning, and next one is Li Yizhen, and the last one is Ran Lingzhe. And also we want to welcome Yu Jun to come on stage because she helped us to recall our presentation.
So this is the end of our presentation today. Thank you for listening.